What's up, y'all? Coach here, and I'm coming to you with another Deadzone video. This time we're going to be talking about Infestation, the Deadzone supplement. And basically, if you back the Kickstarter, you'll be getting this. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how all the new stuff in it, what's going on, and, you know, my opinion on it. So let's get right to it. So the first thing is, if I keep looking down or whatever, I got some notes. I'll be looking at the book or whatever. So just pardon me for that. Infestation is a new book. And basically, it starts off with a little history of XM4, and then it starts to get into a lot of fluff about the Veermen, which is it's our new faction in Deadzone. So it's a bunch of rats, and they need to spread their bleeding sickness. So that's basically the background on that. Okay, this was written by the Rules Committee. All right, so the rules development were Tim Jackson, Arthur, Monty F. Carr, Mark Smith, and Gaetano Ferrara. And I spoke to the guys about it, and they're really proud of this. So we're going to just break it down, tear it apart, and go little by little, see what it's all about. So after you get through the fluff, you're going to get to the new thing, which is called the Elite Army List. Now, what's great about the Elite Army List is you take a merc. So in the past it was a merc, but now it's not. Let's say the Asterians, you take Nemrath. You could have taken him as a merc, and he would have been included in your army, so you'd have another leader and whatever. The thing about this is you can take that merc, let's say Nemrath, as the Asterians. He has a recon value, and he also has an army special ability. So when you roll your splat, he'll have another army special ability. You take that, you put him in there. So it's pretty cool that you can take a merc as a leader of the strike force. Now, I know the guys from the podcast and myself, we were talking about this. Certain guys that, like, let's say Sergeant Howlett or Forward Observer or whatever, they're not mercs. Okay, they can only work for one faction. So when you got a guy like that, we've been calling them heroes. Okay, and the heroes are basically guys that only work for one faction. So they're like unique characters, basically. And they should be able to go into a strike force and be able to lead the strike force or whatever. So now, like I said, these guys that will lead the strike force, they have a recon value, and they also have their own special ability. Okay, the elite list, you can build it like the other one, you know, with your, you start with one leader, and you take as many troops as you want, one troop for every specialist, and 3 troops for every vehicle. So it's the same thing as far as that. The only thing is, the regular strike team, you have lots of options as far as what you can take as far as units are concerned and what gear and weapons you can take. With the elite list, you can only pick from the list that's provided. So it's a little bit less, but you're able to kind of customize it a little bit more as far as making it elite choice. Now, here's where I think it gets elite. There's some special stuff that you can pick. There's some special weapons, things like that. But the specialists, some specialists are troops. So now when we really break down the factions, you're going to see that the Rebs, you take the Severe leader, Adrienne Konovsky, whatever her name is, you take that leader, but she can take Severe as troops. Now in the regular book, they are specialists, but now they become troops, so therefore it's more of an elite list. Okay? And it goes through stuff like that. You can also add a merc later on. So technically you're getting 2 mercs in it. Like you would take, you can take Forward Observer, and then you could take Sergeant Howlett as a merc in your list. And the only thing is you can't do it with the character model type, but everybody else is fair game. So that's the difference of it, and we're going to have another video about the faction breakdowns, but right now I'm just kind of stressing on that. So the elite lists are on XM4, and what's great about it is everybody but the Plague has a list, but there are missions involved, and the missions have special parameters and things, so that's the next thing we're going to go over. Okay, so let's talk missions. The missions are going to be the Veermen versus the Pathfinders, and it's written like that. So now let's just say, for argument's sake, you don't want to take any Veermen. You don't want to take any Pathfinders. You want to do another army, say like Plague and Asterians. Well, what they've done was, in this, they've written it where there's escape and containment. Okay? If you are Veermen, you could put in place the Plague, the Rebs, or the Marauders. If you are a Pathfinder, you put in place the Asterians, the Forge Fathers, or the Enforcers. So you can use one of the other things, or other factions that you want. So let's say you want to do Veermen versus, instead of Pathfinders, you want to do Forgefathers, or maybe Marauders versus Pathfinders, or even just take all that out and go Plague versus Forgefathers, Plague versus Asterians. It's up to you. So it's nice that you know, so as we go along, if you hear that, just refer to this, and then, you know, you could switch it up, which is a kind of a cool thing, so nobody's left out in the cold. Okay, another cool thing that they've introduced into this, into the missions is environmental hazards. So there's 4 of them. You just roll them up and see what happens. So the first one is gale force winds, and basically the wind is kicking up, and you get a -1 to your shoot test during this game. That's tough, man. Okay, unstable ground. Okay, you'll see that we have battle report coming out. We use this. Basically, you roll 2 dice, pick a part on the grid, and then the axis this way and then this way is a collapsed tunnel. And I guess the Veermen were digging underneath it, it became unstable, and it collapsed. So basically, you're going to have to roll a 3 dice survive test. You got to get 2 survives so nothing happens. If not, you can cause some damage. Failure means that success means the model keeps its footing and is unaffected. Failure means that the model is pinned. In addition, any items not held by that model in that cube in this stack will scatter 1 cube in a random direction. So basically, if you're going for an objective and it's going to move to another thing, so that's cool. It kind of moves the board around. It's kind of like unstable earthquake going on underneath you. So I like that one a lot. The slurry storm is you're gonna roll a d4 in the turn which the slurry storm arrives, so you got to know which turn it is. At the start of the turn, the slurry storm arrives, randomly determine a board edge, and I guess it's going to go across the slurry storm. So basically, if you're hiding or you know you don't have cover, you're going to get hit by the storm. So if it's coming this way and you're not behind the wall, it's going to hit you. You got to roll a 3 dice survive test, and then the storm rolls a 3 dice 5+ test for the damage, and basically you just roll it up, and you know the difference in successes, the potential damage suffered by the affected model. So that's cool. All right, this one's a tough one. Frigid cold. The chilling temperatures are down, so at the beginning of each turn, roll 1 dice and add the turn number. If the result is 8 or higher, this is the turn on which the frigid cold reaches out its maximum intensity. For this turn only, short actions count as long actions. If the model wants to attempt a long action, such as sprint or shoot with a weapon, with the heavy ability, it must take a 3 dice survive test, 2 successes. If it succeeds, take the long action. Okay, so basically that's good. You know, 1 turn, and then after that turn, it goes back to, you know, the regular game. So that's cool. That's some kind of environmental hazard. It's something add a little bit of flavor to the game. I like it a lot. I think that's a great aspect to the missions. All right, let's talk mission 1, Infiltration. So it's 150 points per side. Get quarter deployment, and the way you win victory, the Pathfinders must have 12 victory points moving off the board through the Veermen deployment zone. Don't like the Infiltration mission. I really don't like it. Veermen must kill at least 16 points of the victory points of the Pathfinders, and 6 to 8 of them should be Pathfinders. Okay, so that's it. So now this has a cool little special rule. It's called Stealth Mission. Basically, the Pathfinders have to stay in cover. And if they stay in cover and they're hidden, the Veermen can't shoot them. Now, if the Veermen has line of sight to them, they're going to have to roll 3 dice, 5+ test, 2 successes. They see them, alert the rest of the Veermen strike team, and then it's a regular game. Okay, so now let's say they get into combat. If they're in combat, the Pathfinder must kill the Veermen. If he survives, he sets the alarm, and then the Veermen can they can target the Pathfinder. So that's pretty cool. I'm not too crazy about the Infiltrate mission. The stealth is kind of cool. If you can stealthily get up and get off, that's okay. But that's a nice little twist to it. So that's mission 1, Infiltration. Okay, second mission, mission 2, is Acquisition. So the Pathfinder Ligni are trying to recover a drone that contains vital information. So 150 points per side. Pathfinders cannot take any vehicles. All right, deployment in quarters. And in the middle, there's an objective cube with 5 3 victory point counters in the middle. So I guess that's where the drone is. So you collect victory point tokens if you have the only model in the cube, and you can only collect 1 token per round. So basically, you have to get to the cube, you have to fight everybody else off, and you have to be the only faction in that cube. All right. So that's the mission. So basically, you think about it. I don't know what they did. The Deadzone universe, Warpath universe. Maybe you get a flash drive, bring it there, and you start to download the information. And there's 5 full drives of information that you have to download because you can't move the drone. That's the 3-point mission. So that's pretty cool. You got to make sure that you don't want in there. So the Veermen have special rules where sometimes they can reactivate themselves and get in there on their splat. So you got to make sure that you have. You got to make sure you have it locked down pretty good to get those victory points. All right, and then what's cool is there's a challenge scenario in this. So all kills are worth 0, and the counters are worth 3 victory points. The first to 9 victory points wins. That's kind of a cool mission, get there, get the information, and get rid of it. And then I think the Veermen are trying to get it. So I guess that's why they said the Maligni. They seem to be the engineers or the smarter ones. They're the ones who make the weapons and stuff for the Veermen. So very cool acquisition mission number 2. Okay, so mission number 3. Elimination, okay? 200 points per size. Now we're getting somewhere. 200 points is, the sweet spot for us. Veermen must include and pay for Broodmother. She's a strike team's leader, okay? So that's pretty cool. You have to take the Broodmother. The terrain should be represent a maze, dark and claustrophobic. So rats in a maze is kind of a cliche, but, fits. The cliche fits, all right? And just one thing, you should have as much terrain on the board as you can, just in general, because that's how Deadzone is different from, then, let's say, Warpath or Firefight, because even though you put a lot of terrain, there is a lot of open spaces. But in Deadzone, it's supposed to be you're like in this urban environment, in this, just claustrophobic thing. It's small, and it's this little 2x2 square that we're gonna be basically fighting in. So load it up, load it up. But it's saying to try to make it like a maze, so that's kind of cool. All right. The victory conditions. Deployment is in the corners. Your victory condition is you killing the enemy models, getting their victory points. The Veermen must reach 20 victory points. All right, so that's how they win. The Pathfinders have a different mission. They can reach 16 points, but they must kill the Broodmother. Now, if they have 16 points and don't kill the Broodmother, and then the Veermen reach 20 victory points, then they win. You have to kill the Broodmother and get 16 points. So even if you kill the Broodmother and don't get the 16 points, the Pathfinders don't win. So it's really cool. Now, the Veermen, there's a challenge part to this. You can play in another mission, which is nice, in a different mission. Veermen get 6 free crawlers or stalkers and can take a second Broodmother if they want. So I guess by taking the second Broodmother, you offset the cost by the 6 crawlers and stalkers. 6 crawlers and stalkers are no joke, all right? They're easy to kill, but when there's a lot of them, they get all gunked up and they get all geeked up and get in there. So that's like almost like a zombie horde, and you got to treat them, you got to take care of them. You can't let them run around so much. So that's the 3rd mission. Okay, so let's go to mission number 4, which is Elimination. 200 points per side. Okay, Pathfinders cannot use peacekeepers. They can use vehicles in this. Also, they receive 2 sentry guns, and they could scout up and be deployed as if like an engineer did it. So that's pretty cool. You get the 2 scout guns. In the counter set, you get them, but if you have the original set with the enforcers, you get 2 sentry guns. So it's cool. Actually get to use them for free. You're getting them for free. All right, the battlefield. You need to have a 2x2x1 size piece of terrain to be the landing pad. So basically, this is the landing pad in the middle. If you have a landing pad, it's bigger than that. So I guess you got to defend. It's a 2x2 square, at least 1 high. So if you don't have the landing pad, it's okay. You could use just any piece of terrain that's designated as the landing pad. Okay, so the Veermen deployment is basically they have 2 cubes in all 4 corners of the board, and the Pathfinders deployed in the cubes around the landing pad. So that's where they're deployed. All right. So basically, victory conditions is first player to reach 20 victory points. If the Veermen are the sole occupant of the Pathfinder cubes, then they will win. So basically, the Pathfinders are defending the landing pad, and the Veermen are trying to take it over, eliminate them to get to the landing pad. And the challenge scenario is that you can do 250 points per side, and you can use 2 mats, and then just basically deploy the same way, but in the middle. So it'll take you a little longer, but that's actually pretty cool. So basically, the Veermen are trying to get off the planet, spread the bleeding sickness, and the Pathfinders are trying to stop them. So it's very cool. Okay, so the 5th and final mission is Evacuation. 250 points per side. The field should be cramped with terrain, so just put all your stuff on the board, man. Get it going. All right, deployment opposite sides of the board. 2 cubes in the middle are the objective cubes, so you just put the 2 cubes in the center. The victory conditions for this, so basically this is like a, I'll read it for you to describe it. Its objective, basically, there's service ducts and maintenance ducts below priority station. Its objective, control over the life support and docking control modules. So basically, they're going to try to see this so that the Veermen can't get off the planet, and the Veermen want to get off the planet. This is their way to get there. All right. So basically, kill the enemy models, reach 20 victory points, be the sole occupant of both objective cubes, and have at least 2 more points than the opponent. All right. So now let's say you just run up and you're in those objective cubes, and your opponent hasn't gotten there yet. You still got to win by 2 victory points. It's almost like a pickup basketball game. So this is the last mission. And it's very cool. I like this, that, it's just basically the last mission where they had to defend a certain thing. Right now, it's the 2 sides are trying to get together, and they're trying to get into the docking station, and they're fighting over that. So that's pretty cool. And it's different than the other mission with the 3-point objectives. This is when you're just fighting. You just got to try to get it, but you got to have, the first one's reach 20 victory points. So if you reach 20 and your opponent has 19, then you got to keep fighting until you get 21. But then if he gets 20, you got to get 22. So that's pretty cool. It might come down to 2 or 3 models left on the board. So, I could see this one being a real all-out brawl. All right, so that's the review of the Infestation book. My opinion, I like it a lot. The 5 missions are really good. The elite lists, I like them a lot. There's a few things that are a little quirky as far as the rules and whatever. But we can get to that. I'm going to break down the elite factions in another video. The environmental factors, the environmental hazards, the missions, the fluff is really good. The fact that, so now we're going to get one of these with maybe 1 or 2 models, some things. I know they're going back to Nexus Psi, so we're going to get one of these for Nexus Psi. I think that's actually a great thing. I think that a way to change the game up or add some new stuff to the game, or just even make an elite list, bring in a new character, or an old character, bringing it back. Like they were saying, Dr. Simmons is going to be in the next one, but her rules are terrible now. So if they can do something with a splat and just kind of rewrite everything, that would be great. Okay, it's good. It's good. It's a positive thing that they're doing. I like it a lot. So Rules Committee did a great job on this. Mantic was great for letting them do this, and that's about it. I just think it's a nice little addition to what we already have. We already have the missions and stuff in the main rule book. Then we have these missions. We got just tons of stuff to play. So Deadzone's in a good place. Deadzone's progressing forward at a really, really good rate, and I'm really happy to be involved in this game. So that's that, guys. Like Family Gamer 777. This is your hub for Deadzone. All good stuff coming. We got more battle reports, more hobby stuff, painting, all this stuff. We just we're building and we're painting and we're getting everything done. So, look for some awesome content coming up in the near future. So, thanks for sticking with me, guys. Like, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.